Good evening, West Orange, and welcome to the April 4th, 2017 Town Council meeting. This is our 7th meeting of the year. Our next meeting will be April 25th. Madam Clerk.
This is to inform the general public that this meeting is being held in compliance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The annual notice was emailed to the Star Ledger and filed in the Township Clerk's office on November 28, 2016, and published in the West Orange Chronicle on December 8, 2016. Councilwoman Castellino?
Present.
Councilman Guarino?
Present.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Present.
Council President Kukoviac?
Present.
Let the record show that Councilman Cirillo will be absent this evening.
We have a light regular agenda, but we have a very heavy conference agenda, so I want to let Councilman Guarino start us off, please.
Thank you, Council President. Must have been some tall people here. Good evening. Thank you, Council President. Thank you to my council colleagues. You know, it's always nice. People say they don't want to be thanked when they do things. But my colleagues and I, and especially I always feel it's nice to let the community know that there are members of our community who are always there when the township needs them, when our residents need them, and who are just what you really call real mentions. They're real people who make West Orange the great township it is. And one of those people, actually many of those people, is the Drill family, a long-time member of the West Orange community, has kept their business in West Orange for many, many years, and I'll read the citation, have given of their facilities, of their time and efforts to doing things and making available their facility for events, the parking lot for every event, especially with the street fair, and thank you to the Drill family for that. But they never asked for anything in return. They don't even want to be thanked, but you think about it, and you always want to say, you know, they need to get a little public recognition. It's a good thing. And tonight, I'd like to do that along with my council colleagues to thank the Drill family for their years of service and commitment to the Township of West Orange. So I'll start off. Citation of the West Orange Township Council. The West Orange Township Council is proud to recognize the Drill family. The Drill family has a long history of commitment and involvement in the West Orange community. Drill Construction Company, located at 80 Main Street, was founded by Max Drill in 1927, almost 100 years. Every one of its principals are current or former West Orange residents. Max's son, Philip, raised his five children on Carter Road, and Richard, now deceased, raised his sons, Roger and Larry, on Beverly Road. David, Philip, Larry, and Roger are committed to supporting the township by volunteering on various committees, including the Friends of Edison. David serves as a member on the Downtown West Orange Alignment, and David's a great member. He's always there pushing the downtown merchants. Philip is a board member and former president of the New Jersey Y Camp and a former member of the JCC Metro West. Larry is a board member of Essex County Mental Health Association of Essex County. Roger has served on the board of the Orange Memorial Hospital and Jesby House. Drill Construction Company was the original contractor for the Turtleback Zoo more than a half century ago. They recently completed the award-winning penguin exhibit and converted the monkey house into the aquarium. They also created the popular exhibits for the Komodo dragon and recognized them this evening, and other reptiles. They have been involved in buildings and renovating various projects throughout West Orange. More importantly, and the reason we recognize them this evening is for their generosity to the township. Throughout the year, wherever there is a situation or function in West Orange, the Drill family works hand in hand with the township and graciously allows the use of their parking lot at 80 Main Street. During the recent completed library renovation, they allowed the township employees to utilize their parking lot, sometimes leaving town vehicles overnight. It is this kindness that the Township Council is most appreciative of and wishes to recognize. So therefore, we proudly honor the Drill family for their strong devotion to our community. Your legacy will live on through the many projects you've built, but mostly for the many acts of kindness you have shown, presented by the West Orange Township Council, April 24th, 2017. David, would you like to please come up? Thank you. Would you like to say a couple of words?
Okay. Jerry, can you do that?
Oh, absolutely.
Hold it. Thank you.
My family and I are grateful to be acknowledged for what we do, and it's a great opportunity to partner with the town of West Orange, and to assist in any way we can.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President.
Next on the agenda, we have Ms. Susan Anderson, who's the Town Public Information Officer and who is also one of the guiding forces of the New Jersey Arts Incubator, which operates a program out of the OSPAC Open Air Theater off of Prospect Avenue. And I believe, Ms. Anderson, if you'd like to come up, I'm sure you want to update everyone on this, please.
Talking to all of both. There's a lot of mics tonight. Okay. Good evening, Council, Business Administrator, and residents. My name is Susan Anderson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for the Township of West Orange. For those of you who don't know, for the past 3 years, I have served as an Executive Director for the New Jersey Arts Incubator, which at present runs programming for the Oscar Schindler Performing Arts Center, which is a township-owned park, 5.5-acre outdoor amphitheater at Crystal Lake. We came into OSPAC as people who've worked in entertainment and publicity, but sort of not small town performing arts. So it's been a learning curve for us all. There are members of my board here, Corey Wood, who is a board member and has been very generous in his contributions to the Performing Arts Center and the programming at OSPAC, personally himself in the past 2 years donating about $5,000, so we thank him. David Peart, who is the production director for OSPAC and donates a lot of his time running sound, lights, hiring and firing staff, and making sure everything is done from equipment running to making sure that the shows go on time. So we thank David. And this is Roger Apollon, one of the members of our board of trustees, but also is a valued member of the volunteer staff up at OSPAC. And he does everything from sound to perform to lights to garbage, you name it. So, I mean, that's us. That's not all of our board members. Our chairperson, Rochelle Christie, who is fairly new to town, but has lived in South Orange for almost 20 years, was expected to speak tonight and hopefully still will speak. However, she is delayed with the train derailment from yesterday. Apparently the trains have not caught up yet, and she's having trouble getting from the city. So I will start. Now, as you know, OSPAC is an open theater, so we do not open to the summer. People call and they say, I called OSPAC and it was closed. Yes, we are closed in the winter. You cannot get on the facility with the snow and the rain, so we are closed. It's too cold. We try to open every year between May and September. Those are the nice months, and it's not too cold and it's not too hot. And we try to do anywhere between 9 and 18 programs if we're feeling ambitious. I wanted to tell you what we have this year. We're opening up a little earlier than usual in May with a healthcare expo, which is going to be a combined effort of the Chamber and OSPAC and who else is involved? Josie Velez and a whole bunch of other sponsors.
Downtown.
And Susan McCartney has the flyer, and she can probably give you an idea of who's participating. It's similar to the program that we did at Liberty Middle School in
2015.
2015, except for we're doing it outside because it's going to be a little more interactive where there'll be yoga at the lake and maybe some Zumba
Tai Chi.
and food demonstrations, and Josie Velez can speak more to that. There's a lot planned and to get the community involved. It is a very small participation fee if you're a member of the Chamber, which is $25, I believe, to participate in that event. And the monies go toward our Arts Play program, which is the special ed program that we do every year in the schools, serving about 300 children in the extended year program. So we hope to do that. It was a great program when we did it with the schools 2 years ago, and we hope to do that again. So along with the health fair, we have our opener, which is Latin Night, in cooperation with the Hispanic Foundation of West Orange, and Rodolfo Rodriguez heads that. That will be on June 24th from 5 to 9, and that is also a free event. And I think that, I don't know how they do it, but they sell booths and they raise money for their charities. We don't have anything scheduled solid for July yet. We're still working on our July calendar, but there will be events in July. August is already pretty booked. We have 3 free children movies in August. The first one is Monster Trucks, which is August 10th, and that's sponsored by Select Towing. So we thank Select Towing very much for sponsoring that event. Then we have Ant-Man on August 17th, which is sponsored by Advantage Pest Control. We thank them. Yes.
Theme related.
Yes. Zootopia, August 22nd. We do not have a sponsor yet, but we are hoping to get a sponsor for that movie. If you don't know, it's very, very expensive to show a movie. It's free to the public, but we actually have to pay a pretty hefty licensing fee to the studios to show the movies, and we don't want to risk it, so we don't, try to go to Walmart and buy a CD and show it. We actually pay the licensing fees, and we get the movies from one of those providers, and we show them. 824 is Free Space Dance, which is a community dance theater out of Montclair. They come every year, and they showcase their students. The same thing that they do every year at OSPAC, dance studios here in town and small performing groups should know that it is open to them as well. We get a lot of interest from, a lot of the dance studios and clubs like Jazz House Kids in Montclair, and they always want to come up there and do something. And the same thing applies to our local dance studios and local community theaters, that I encourage them to seek us out and try to schedule programming throughout the summer. Of course, we have our Househead Music Fest, which this year I believe is August 12th. We've had that for 3 years, and you're probably not familiar with that unless you're an 80s kid. House music is from the 80s. It came from New York, if you ever visited the Paradise Garage or anything like that. And it has a pretty strong following of people. So it's different now because now the Househead fest, people bring their grandchildren. So it's a lot different than it was in the 80s. So it's always a good time. I believe this year, David, there's a gospel fest on August 13th, the following day. That is the first time we've ever done that. But, you know, we're really going to try everything once. And our finale is our Jazz Fest, which this year will be on 9/16. It's always the third Saturday in September. And we're working on the lineup for that. And that's a nice showcase of local and international. Most of even our local jazz artists are international jazz artists. They travel the world, and we're fortunate enough to have a lot of them that live right here and give us a tremendous discount, you wouldn't believe it, to come out and play for the community, and we're always appreciative of that. So that is our lineup thus far for the summer. We're still working on July, and we hope to, you know, fill most weekends with good and valuable programming for children and adults, and you know, keep the facility thriving and going and enjoyable for the community. So I thank you. I believe Rochelle Christie is here, who's our chair, because she just texted me and asked me what room. And so I'm waiting for her to walk in any minute. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Yes.
Website, and how people could also support the Arts Incubator financially, please.
Yes. Our website is, you can reach us two ways, at ospac.org or njai.org. It takes you to the same place. Donations are made payable to the New Jersey Arts Incubator. It is a 501c3 what is that, nonprofit, and your donations are tax deductible. I also want you to know that a lot of people don't realize this, but we didn't even realize this, and this is probably why we're always so broke. But 99.15% of all the monies we collect, we put that back into a program. Our accountant said, Peterson told us that, and we're like, oh. That's why we can't buy water. But that's what we do. The majority of our program, we collect it, and we put it back into the programs. We work with a very, very small budget and a very small endowment every year, and we really do make wine out of water every summer. So we're going to pat ourselves on the back for that one, because we've been doing that for a couple of years now. And donations can be made through our website, and they can be mailed to 4 Boland Drive, West Orange, New Jersey. And people make donations as small as $50 and as big as, you know, several $1,000s. So, you know, we're not picky. We take anything, and it does add up, and it keeps our program going, especially our Arts Play program that we started at the public schools, which is supposed to service, our grant is for 25 kids, and we do like 300. So you can't pull it back once you've started rolling the ball on something like that. So we struggle, but we get it done.
So I have a question. Susan, you mentioned, we were saying that theme-related movies, Select Towing with Monster Truck, Rick Brill and Advantage Pest Control with Ant-Man, but you didn't say the name of the last movie, so
it's
maybe...
Zootopia.
Zootopia.
We don't have a sponsor for that yet. And any business in town who wants to do a children's movie, be a sponsor as part of one of the existing children's movie, or pick their own children's movie, is welcome. We welcome businesses in town who want to sponsor events that are in theme with what their business does, particularly children events. Because, you know, we get a big crowd there in the summer, and the children love it.
Great.
And by Zootopia, is that about a zoo?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I personally haven't
No.
seen it.
No?
It's not.
It's not about a zoo.
So
It's about a little
Turtleback Zoo.
rabbit that wants to be a police officer.
So,
Gee, I wonder how you know.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
perhaps in the interest of moving the meeting along, I know you have somebody else here. Perhaps if the council agrees, when
Chair comes in, she can.
when she comes in, we could
That would be fine. You don't
make
have
room
any
for
more
her on
questions?
the agenda. Does that sound
Wonderful.
okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you
Anderson.
for your time.
Thank you, Susan.
Sounds good.
Mr. Sayers, you're next on the agenda. Just update on downtown redevelopment, please.
Quick update, everything's moving pretty quickly down there. If you ride by there, you can see it. The studs are in, the windows are being framed out, we're moving pretty quickly. And like I said, they're working on the weekends, and doing as much as they can possibly do to get this done as quickly as possible. I haven't been inside the building in probably a couple weeks. I was probably going to go down there this week, to take a walk around inside, see what it looks like. But they're moving along pretty quickly. Things are moving along pretty well.
Any questions? Yes, Councilwoman.
So as far as any road closures on Main Street or surrounding Main Street, when do we expect any of that for any infrastructure?
I know that
upgrades?
PSE&G has done their hookups. They are now doing sewer hookups, which are there's a road closure in front of our DPW.
Yeah,
And that's going to go on probably for another 3 weeks until they get all the sewer hookups done. But other than that, I'm not aware of any other work
Okay.
from them.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Sayers, you know, my one question is like, any marketing materials being developed?
I have not seen any marketing materials yet. To be quite honest with you, we haven't met with them in about 3 or 4 weeks. So we're doing that. I want to speak to Mr. Trank tonight about when we're going to have our next meeting.
Yeah, if you could push it to them, I'd like to get an idea how they're going to market and what the concept will be.
Absolutely. I actually talked to them about that, and you mentioned it to me a couple of weeks ago, and they said they were going to put something together.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Council President.
and I have to thank you for the renderings that were there at the site when we marched down, when we marched past the site at the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Yeah, we had to look up to see them, but we found them, and so thank you. Now, is that on, I haven't looked on the website, but is it on our website, or?
Not yet.
Okay, so,
Not yet, but it will be. I have to get smaller copies of that.
okay, that would be great.
Yep.
We get that up for folks.
Definitely.
Councilwoman.
No questions, no, please.
Next on the agenda is council liaison announcements.
Oh,
Councilwoman,
that I
would you
can
like
do.
Yeah, you go first. and I'll-
That I can do. I'm just going to pick up where Susan left off, and we did just, so this health fair started, as Susan said, at Liberty Middle School 2 years ago when we had, it seemed that we had so many new chamber members in the health field, and the words came out before I was thinking of what I was saying, that we should do a health fair. And everyone loved the idea. It turned out to be a beautiful day, but it was in October. It was at Liberty Middle School, very cooperative with the Board of Ed. And we had 75 vendors. It was a free event, and a lot of the township departments came out. It was a nice event. So Susan approached and asked about doing that again Sunday, May 21st. It's a free event between 1 and 4 at OSPAC, and there is Lakeside Yoga by the Lake, Lakeside Yoga, Tai Chi demonstration, a Zumba demonstration. There's a new dance studio in town, Dance Warriors. We just received a proposal from them, so all of this will be published soon. Anyone, once you see the information posted, please contact. Contact information is on here through the West Orange Chamber, westorangechamber.com, if you would like to be one of the exhibitors at this Health and Wellness Expo. We finally received videos from the New Jersey Foundation on Aging. They're 20-minute videos that will begin to air on our local access channels, so we're scheduling that as we speak. The West Orange Arts Council has the West Orange High School AP Art students exhibit from now through the end of April. Very exciting. They had their reception on Friday, and the students were all there to be honored and recognized, and it was just a very vibrant, interesting Friday evening. having all the students there. And this is at the gallery, the West Orange Arts Council Gallery and Gift Shop at 551 Valley Road. You're welcome to attend. And what else? The Environmental Commission is launching Energy Sage. I see the chair here, but I think you were here from David Drill and the Downtown Alliance. So Energy Sage is a program where the township can help residents promote solar panels for your home or business. It's a solar you would receive, once we launch this through Energy Save, 3 solar installation quotes, no cost, for you to compare prices and see what, if any, would work with your budget. So that will, we're working with Verona and Caldwell, because it's a county initiative, to launch this community solar project. Can I talk about open space?
You'll steal my thunder, but please go ahead.
Oh, I won't.
No, please go ahead. You're on a roll.
All right, so this, again, was with a grant from ANJAC, which is the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions. Last year, the Environmental Commission partnered with the Open Space Commission, and we received a $1,500 grant. We secured a landscape architect to design 8 gardens at 577 Mount Pleasant Avenue, various gardens at 577 Mount Pleasant Avenue, 6 acres that Open Space purchased a few years back. We have a $20,000 Sustainable Jersey grant pending right now to help facilitate the soil and everything we need for this. However, we did receive 500 trees from the New Jersey Tree Foundation, and on April 22nd, which happens to be Earth Day, between 9 and 1, if you bring your garden shovel, you can come to 577 Mount Pleasant Avenue and help us plant 500 trees. So this is a community build. Come out just appropriately for the day. Those are all the fun things. Tomorrow night, the planning board meets tomorrow night. The planner is going to speak about our affordable housing and where we are with that, and we will begin discussions on stakeholders for our master plan. See Jerry Eben's nodding his head. What I believe that Chairman Bagoff would like to do is invite stakeholders to each meeting so that all the planning board members can hear what residents and different organizations in town as stakeholders have to say about the master plan. And we would take that all into consideration. I think that's it.
Okay. Councilman.
Thank you, Council President. Just like to make an announcement. Of course, our West Orange Pedestrian Safety Advisory Board meeting is being moved. I'll be on the website. It's being moved to April 27th, 7:30 p.m. at the Educational Center at Turtleback Zoo. So please mark your calendars. Also, we have an event coming up on Friday, April 7th. It's the Police Unity Tour fundraiser. It's for the police department, and it's a great event for Team West Orange, for the West Orange Police Department. It's a great thing. And it's Friday, April 7th, 7 p.m. at the Essex House. It's a $25 donation and includes 1 glass of beer or wine and some complimentary appetizers. So you should come out and show your support for the West Orange Police Department. Also, I know it's tomorrow night, but we also have the West Orange Lions Club Spaghetti Dinner, annual spaghetti dinner. It's a great event. It's a good meal. You can stuff yourself with pasta that I shouldn't. So it'll be at the Tarnoff Cafeteria at West Orange High School. So make your efforts to come show your support for the West Orange Lions organization.
When does that start, Councilman?
5:30. Thank you, Council President. It starts at 5:30. Also, we talk about it every council meeting, but we do have on June 3rd is our annual Street Fair Edison Day, and we hope you'll mark your calendar. It's going to be another great event, many crafts, food trucks. Really, it's a really exciting event, plus the car show. Some great cars from last year will be again here this year, and there are 3 trophies that the mayor will be giving out. So I hope you'll come by. If you have a classic car, go on our website and register the car. It's $20 to register your car. And I think you'll have a good time just coming to the street fair. It's always a good time. And also your chance to see the Edison Laboratory and Museum. It's free that day, the National Park Service. So it's a great turnout. Bring your children. I'm sure a lot of you who've lived here for years have never been to the Edison National Historic Park, so you should. And also, just to mark on your calendars, we voted on it at our last council meeting, that from July 1st to July 4th, the mobile Vietnam Veterans Memorial will be at West Orange, and it'll be up at the high school. And so mark your calendars. We'll be looking for volunteers to help us, because we have to guarantee volunteers to help put this together. But it is a solemn event. It's not, a celebration. It's a solemn event to honor the Vietnam veterans, those who were injured, those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and those who are still living with those years. The biggest role model I've always had is my brother, who was in the Vietnam War. So it's a great way to show respect and show diligence to our Vietnam veterans. So it'll be a great event. That's from July 1st to July 4th, and the times and the actual location will be announced very shortly. So that's all. Thank you, Council President.
Councilwoman?
Okay, thank you. So Thursday night, April 13th, is the Recreation Department Spring Fling for all the little ones out there who like to meet the Easter Bunny. You can do so at West Orange High School at 7:15. There'll be a magic show that evening. So it's always a nice, great event that the Recreation Department puts together for our youth of our township, and that will be held Thursday night, April 13th. April 19th, we have the high school will be holding another event for our senior citizens. It's a senior citizen prom. It's a lovely event every year. Our high school students perform as well as serve. And Mr. Moore is always Principal Moore is always very proud of them. They do a beautiful job for our guests that attend. And anyone interested in attending, you need to buy a ticket in advance. And you could call West Orange High School, 973-669-5301, extension 33742. There's information on the township website for the event. And April 30th, Friends of the West Orange Public Library, we're having our first annual gala fundraiser. Sunday night, April 30th, from 5:30 to 7:30, $30 per person, unless you want to join our Friends organization. And then for all the Friends organization members is $20 per person, and you could go online to pay. So we're looking forward to that event. It's our first. We're celebrating our first year of the organization. We're celebrating that the facade is finally done and the building looks beautiful. And we're working on, in the basement of the library, if those of you have been down there in the past, there was a book sale not long ago, but we're working on renovating that into an instructional space. So all funds will be going towards that project. So that is Sunday night, April 30th. And one other note, and then with our July event.
Catered dinner.
Oh, catered dinner, yes. You get very good food for your $30, as well as helping the Friends organization. Also, July 2nd, the week, 4th of July week, I talked to the school board today, Ms. Lab, she told me they're going to be approving our food truck festival, so that's exciting news for July 2nd. We'll have food truck festival Sunday, July 2nd, with various trucks and vendors right in Pleasantdale Center. So we're looking forward to that, a week of celebration. And last but not least, with Mr. Puglisi here, I just want to take a minute to thank the County Surrogate's Office on a personal level. I had to have, it's been a tough month for my family. We've had a few experiences where we needed to go deal with the Surrogate's Office, and they have been absolutely wonderful. They're so accommodating. Calvin Pearson, Tara Wilson, all the clerks down there, they just really help you in a really tough circumstance to walk you through the process. And I was talking to Mr. Stevens, and I know he's come here to town before to do some presentations. I know Ms. Morelli, he's spoken with you quite a few times, and so we'll get him back to town, because it's so helpful. You don't realize sometimes when things happen suddenly in your family, and if you're not prepared. The Serica's office is a wonderful resource. And Mr. Puglisi, if you could just, just take pride in that. They do a really wonderful job. So that's what I just wanted to share. And Council President, that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Just very briefly, to follow up on Councilwoman's announcement about the Friends of the West Orange Public Library, the tickets are $30, but if you're a member of the Friends, it's only $20. So you can sort of kill two birds with one stone.
That's right.
You can go to the town library, WOPL.org, click on the little box at the top that says Friends, and you can sign up for both a membership and also sign up for the tickets. As a follow-on to that, National Library Week starts April 9th, and School Library Month is April. If you'd like more information about that, you can go to WOPL.org, or you can also go to ALA.org, which is the American Library Association. Anybody else? We will now end the conference agenda, and we'll move on to the public meeting. Madam Clerk.
This is to inform the general public that this meeting is being held in compliance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The annual notice was emailed to the Star Ledger and filed in the Township Clerk's office on November 28, 2016, and published in the West Orange Chronicle on December 8, 2016. Councilwoman Castellino?
Present.
Councilman Guarino?
Present.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Present.
Council President Kukoviac.
Present.
Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? The council is now in their public meeting.
Earlier during the conference agenda, we had Ms. Susan Anderson came up and spoke a little bit about the OSPAC New Jersey Arts Incubator program that's be kicking off, I believe, next month. There was someone else who wanted to come here and speak, and I can see that she's arrived now. She has a very pensive look on her face, and we had agreed to let her come and speak once she got here. So I'd like to do that before we actually open for public meeting. So if you could just come to the lectern. Thank you.
Good evening. I just want to apologize for being late because I work in New York City, and the derailment there's no trains coming out of Penn Station, so I had to take the train from Hoboken. It was a little adventure, but I made it here. Good evening to the members of the council. My name is Rochelle Dickerson. I am the chairman of the board of trustees, actually, for the New Jersey Arts Incubator. I live at 34 Lowell Avenue in West Orange, and prior to that, I was a resident of South Orange for 15 years or so. So my son is at the high school, my last child is at home, and then I have one who's in college in Pennsylvania and one who's graduated college. So we've been in the Essex County community for quite some time. I just want to say I've been with NJAI since 2013. I was asked to join the board of directors because I'm assuming my friends thought I didn't have enough things already on my schedule. And since that time, after being there 1 year, I was tapped to be the chairperson because we didn't have a chairperson, and it seemed like, although everybody's busy, you know what I mean? So I was the person who was actually able to step up and do it. It's been very fulfilling in terms of putting on the programming, but it's been a little bit frustrating in terms of the finances because we don't have a very large budget. Because OSPAC is owned by the township, a lot of residents mistakenly think that we get money from the township and we have a big budget, and we don't. We just have one grant that we get every year from Carvel to do primarily Arts Play, which is a program for special needs students, and then a small portion of that can also be used for operating expenses, but we're sort of limited with what we can do with that money. So it leaves us in a lurch when it comes to trying to put on programs. We do have 8 programs each year that we do with, we provide for the township. A lot of, we have our jazz festival and movie nights and other things that we do. However, we'd like to do, offer better programming to the residents of West Orange and the surrounding community, because OSPAC is a jewel. I mean, I didn't know, I've lived in South Orange for 15 years before moving here, that it existed. A lot of people in West Orange don't know that it exists. I had a friend come up who's an event planner, was like, my God, this place is beautiful, you guys should be doing, and we're not really doing a whole lot with it because we're financially constrained. So I'm really here to ask for your help in funding the arts in a real meaningful way. We, aside from the grant, we have, we do the movie nights, those are free to the public. We also do other events. For 2015, we did about 14 events, and we brought in $57,000. For 2014, we did 18 events, and we brought in $67,000. And when we did our tax returns, we found that for every dollar that comes into NJAI, 99 cents goes back into programming. That is better than any nonprofit I know of. For most of them, the standard is 70 going back into programming and 30% going into operating. And so for us, we really are doing a lot with a little. And I wanted to bring that to the township's attention, not just to the board members, but also to to the residents and anybody who may be watching this on closed circuit television when it actually airs. And just in closing, I would just like to say that, like I said, it's a facility that's owned by the township. It's just a really great place, and I think for our needs specifically right now, short term, are two things. One is if we could sort of upgrade the sound system, because that's been an issue. But even more than that, and this is an issue that may have some litigation consequences, we have a problem with lighting that leads from the path where the actual amphitheater is up to the lake. So at night, when we have events and they go into the evening, there's not ample lighting there. We've done, I guess, a temporary fix in installing lighting. We bought some solar lights and installed them along that path that we got from Home Depot or something, but we've gone back, they've been vandalized or stolen, so we don't have any permanent lighting fixtures that are there to light that pathway. So for that's something that, because it is a township facility, we're worried about that in terms of if someone should happen to fall. It's on a little graded hill. It's not very steep, but just going up there to that lake area. And so we would, just in the short term, love to get some permanent lighting there, and then also to maybe upgrade the sound facilities. And aside from that, any funding that the township could spare would really be great, because, like I said, it's a great place, and I think in the summers it's definitely underutilized, but we can't afford to put on any programming because we don't really have the money, and fundraising has not been as robust as we would like it to be. So in conclusion, thank you very much for giving me time to speak to you all, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dickinson. Now is the time on the agenda for public comment. I'd ask that if you'd like to speak, just raise your hand and be recognized. You'll have 5 minutes to speak. I'll recognize you, and you can come up to the lectern. Please start out with your name and the spelling of your name, and also your address for our minutes. And you'll have 5 minutes to speak. And what we're trying to do is speed things up, so I'll pick a few of you to come up if there are enough people wanting to speak, and if the others could just come down to the first or second row, it'll save us time in between speakers. Anyone who likes to speak, please raise your hand. Got a gentleman in the back. Got a looks like a retired actress over there in the blue coat. Please come on down. Yes, you. And is that Mr. McDowell? I can't see.
Roger.
Yes, Roger. Please come on down.
I hope I'm speaking loud enough now. I would like to, if possible, if the
Excuse me.
buses could
Excuse me
pick
for
us up-
interrupting you. Name and spelling.
Robert
please.
Pringle, and I live in the Brenner House.
Yes.
And I like, if possible, if the buses could pick us up to go to the pool 5 days a week. I don't expect them to pick us up on weekends because I know they don't run on weekends, but at least if they could pick us up 5 days a week at about 11:45 and take us home about 3:30, something like that. Because I can't walk too good because I have problems with my feet. And I'm not too good on going on buses, and it'd be nice if they could do that for us, you know? Because when you figure it out, it's only 2 months out of the season, you know? I don't see why they can't pick us up. That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Pringle. What we'll do is, at the end, after everybody has finished speaking, we'll respond to it. And I know the administration has looked into this issue before, so
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could do that, you know?
Yes.
I really would appreciate that. Okay?
sounds good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
bye
Pringle.
now.
Got to get this down here. So. Rosalie Saperstein. I live in the West Essex Highlands. As a senior citizen, I'm very concerned about the possible building of the apartments. There are 300 condos in the West Essex Highlands. It's very hard to get in and out as it is now. I'm concerned that if they build 700 rentals with 200 or more people, an ambulance will not be able to get in, a fire truck will not be able to get in. I'm concerned about the safety of the citizens in the West Essex Highlands, and I'm concerned about myself and my husband as senior citizens. So I want to be sure that you're aware that there is one entrance into the West Essex Highlands and there's one entrance out. And with just 300 units now, it's a problem. With more building, it's a disaster. So please be aware of our health and our safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Saperstein. What's your address, please?
Excuse me?
What's your address, please, for our minutes?
14 Curry Lane, West Orange.
Okay.
Rosalie Saperstein.
And could you just spell Saperstein, please?
Yes, S-A-F, like in Frank, E-R-S-T-E-I-N. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell?
This is actually stay right here. Roger Apollon, 225 St. Cloud Avenue.
Can you spell your last name, please?
A-P-O-L-L-O-N,
Thank you.
like Apollo with an N. I just wanted to double down on the OSPAC appeal.
Amphitheater.
Sorry. I don't, West Orange is like it's not like, it is the premier town for the arts in Essex County. The music program at all the schools are second to none. Marching band, wind ensemble, award-winning. We have a very strong program for the schools, and I feel that what's happening outside of the schools, once they graduate, there's a bit of a void. There's not that same level of excellence that we put into the school program that we're showing for the arts program. The downtown redevelopment, you're going to find people from New York City, et cetera, coming in to a very sophisticated downtown area. And I feel that in order to match their interests, I don't want them to go to SOPAC. I don't want them to go to Maplewood. I don't want them to go to the Mayo Center. I want them to stay in town and ride right here to see it. So I just want to really implore you guys to say that, again, if you haven't been to OSPAC, it's a beautiful facility. And there's no reason that we can't have a world-class facility. I'm not saying it's got to be a SOPAC, but it can be. And for us to really just take small steps to really get us to that point. So whatever you can help us with to get us there, because people will travel. We have very talented artists that live in town, people who tour the world. And wouldn't it be amazing if they could just literally drive 5 minutes and play this amazing world-class facilities? Every event should be free. Every event should be free. And for me, for that to happen, I think if we just take that same mindset that we put in for the school and for the arts and match that with what we have with the performing arts in West Orange, we can't lose. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Please raise your hand. Please, go ahead. Ms. Morelli, you can be next. Is there anybody else? Mr. Eben, please come down and get in line, please. Okay, you're good.
Hi, my name is Wendy Schumann. Schuman. I live at 21 Curry Lane in West Orange in the West Essex Highlands. I took a drive yesterday in West Orange and it was extremely instructive. At the top of the hill behind the existing West Essex Highlands development, the land is forested and flattens out. It meets Howell Road, which runs parallel to the forested area, and Slayback Terrace, which runs perpendicular to the forested area. Both Howell and Slayback at this point are in West Orange. So a road from the expanded development could be extended into the existing road system using only property that is entirely within West Orange. In about 100 feet, Slayback moves into Verona, but then soon meets Howell, which is a loop road. Making a right-hand turn on Howell brings you immediately back into West Orange. From there, the road passes through a residential West Orange single-family community until arriving via Cunningham at Pleasant Valley Way, near Green Hill Retirement Community, which is also in West Orange. So the access point is within West Orange, and almost the entire car route all the way to Pleasant Valley Way is within West Orange. It appears that the Township of West Orange may want our development to bear the entire brunt of the traffic problems created by the expanded development when another point of egress exists totally within the township. From a planning point of view, the additional public access makes all the sense in the world. The traffic would not need to be entirely funneled through Warner and Oval Roads to Eagle Rock Avenue. A substantial portion would be routed to Pleasant Valley Way. Having two regularly used public access points would also be safer because the roads would be far less congested if emergency vehicles needed to use them. There are zoning and ordinance requirements to permit the new development. However, there is no requirement to unnecessarily burden our community with all of the consequences. The earlier this issue is addressed, the better, since once the township settles with the developer, which they are now doing in confidential sessions, the harder it will be to undo the decided parameters of the new development. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schuman. Ms. Morelli?
Rosary Morelli, Ralph Road. I have a variety of subjects I want to talk about tonight. I'm going to give you an update on another township. I was at a Aging in Montclair meeting today. AIM is a nonprofit group in addition to the town senior citizen group. And the senior citizen group, the township group, has 16 members. Now, I was here last time and told you how many Maplewood was planning to have. I think it was 17. Our ordinance, or the proposed ordinance that wasn't accepted, was turned down for having too many people or proposed members on the board. I think you need to look at it again. The transport policy, has the information gotten out to the people who don't have computers? Because they're still asking me, and I'm still doing the dispatching.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
I'm asking if you put together any hard copies of documents that state the transportation policy for the Township of West Orange.
It's supposed to go to the senior houses and the
We-
CAT Center.
Would appreciate if you could finish all your remarks, then the council will address them.
Yeah, please,
Okay.
please ask your questions, Ms. Morelli.
By the way, I couldn't get an agenda for tonight's meeting. Why doesn't the township have bus transportation to the JCC on Tuesdays? There are about 10 people who go there most of the week, but Tuesdays they don't go, and that's in West Orange, and the West Orange bus transports them there. Another thing, and I know we're separate bodies, the school budget. I read this, it was really a shocker, where somehow in 2007, because of a grant, there's a quote in here from the business administrator. There was a grant, and yet they went in for debt service or whatever, and now we have to pay that back. Maybe Ms. Castellino can explain how something like that could happen from 2007. This is going to be a big increase. As far as I can see, it's over 4%. Let's see. I think things like this, where situations like this require oversight. And I think the taxpayers in this town are being shortchanged. We need some oversight. I think we need a budget advisory committee for the municipality. We did this years ago, back in the 1990s. I was a member of that committee, and I think we need one for the board. Additionally, with what's proposed for all of this development, we definitely need a full-time planner. I mean, a lot is going on, and all this affordable housing. We need somebody who is a full-time planner and can be on-site, can be accessible to the citizens. A consultant doesn't cut it anymore. We're growing too fast. Oh, mark your calendars. You're marking it for everything else. It's Older American Month in May, so don't forget us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Even. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? If you could just raise your hand. Okay. Both of you folks will be next. Mr. Howland.
Jerry Even, 26 Walker Road, an older American like Rosary. I have a couple of things also taking off. I was in I'm dressed up today because I came from teaching 6th and 7th graders about the Holocaust. So that's why I was dressed up today. And normally I come here, I'm in my construction clothes. I also was in a meeting this morning, a teleconference meeting with the American Institute of Architects New Jersey chapter, and there are no less than 4 bills in front of the legislature that have to do with affordable housing. And I'm going to mention them tomorrow night at the planning board because I want to make sure that Mr. Greigel knows about these. These are before, whether they're going to be passed or not, I have no idea. But there are 4 bills, and they are 4659, 4660, 4661 from the Assembly, and Senate Bill 2216. And I haven't read them yet, but I'm going to read them when I go home tonight and see if I can come up to speed relatively quick. There also was a nice thing on NPR this morning and again this afternoon about Bloomfield and about the redevelopment of Bloomfield, their downtown, and it was quite interesting, and it'd be great if we could get NPR to do something about our downtown. And also the planning board, the people that are getting up this evening to speak about the Highlands, come to the planning board meeting tomorrow. You're a stakeholder in this community. I know that the council has been invited, and spaghetti dinners are at 5:30. We start at 7:30. If you can eat for 2 hours and then come to the planning board, it'd be great. And Councilwoman Castellino mentioned that when she was marching in the parade, she was looking up. And the saying in AIA, last year's AIA big saying was look up, because you can see a lot of good buildings. As it happens, Council President Krakowiak mentioned Library Week starts on April 9th. It also is the beginning of Architecture Week. And I'm going to have an article, a letter to the editor about Architecture Week in the Chronicle tomorrow. I would invite people to go to the public library. A few years back, I donated 2 books that were edited by some of our members that talked about the architecture of New Jersey. And of course, the book was written while I was president of AIA New Jersey, and I was able to get a couple of I couldn't get all the historic properties in the book, but I got a few historic properties of in West Orange in the book. And I also, while I was much later than being president of AIA New Jersey, I was on the national board, and I constantly talked about West Orange. And the reason why I constantly talked about West Orange in front of my national board members, and most of the people that I was on the board with have at one time or another come to West Orange, primarily because Richard Upjohn, who was the founder of the American Institute of Architects, did work here. So did Calvert Vaux, and so did A.J. Davis. And the other reason why the Architecture Week is April 9th to April 15th is because April 13th is Thomas Jefferson's birthday. And we take credit for Thomas Jefferson being an architect, and that's why we've created that. But it does coincide with April 9th. The book which is called the best 150 best buildings and places in New Jersey. There are 2 copies in the public library. If you hurry up and take one out and use it when we finally get spring here and drive around the state and see some really, really nice buildings, it would be appreciative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Eby. Is there anyone else? We have 2 speakers ready to go. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? If you just raise your hand.
Good evening. Alan Yohalem, Yohalem, 20 Davy Drive. This will be quick. I have a follow-up to a question that I asked at the last meeting regarding possible compensation regarding the development of the land adjacent to the Highlands and the developer, because of the developer's track record of having been sued on numerous occasions by other municipalities for failure to comply. I had asked the question of what was being done, or could anything be done in terms of being able to have money set aside in escrow to protect the residents of both the Highlands and anywhere else in West Orange that could be affected by any damage done through the construction process. I asked that question and was told by Attorney Richard Trank that the developer would be required to post a bond. Okay, that's all I was told about it, and I did a little bit of research, and I certainly hope that you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but that bond, as I understand it, is only to ensure that the developer follows the plans that he is submitting and would have been approved, and it doesn't in any way protect the citizens or protect other residents of the Highlands, or, as I say, any other neighboring community that could be affected by it. And I was just questioning whether my interpretation of that is correct, and if so, what possibly could be done to have money set aside in escrow, not as a performance bond, but as escrow for protection of the community, and to make certain that homeowners who, if there is damage done to their homes and there is not sufficient funds to cover it, will not be very happy. So I'd appreciate that whatever leverage you might have at this time of negotiation be used in making certain that there are adequate funds set aside in escrow so that the homeowners would be protected. Thank you.
Kruti Patel, 21 Lapis Circle.
Can you spell your name, please?
K-R-U-T-I, Patel, P-A-T-E-L.
And the address again, I'm sorry.
21 Lapis, L-A-P-I-S.
Thank you.
First of all, thanks to all our council members and Mrs. Shirley Bishop, who came to our West Essex Highland Clubhouse March 28th meeting and explained this complicated concept, affordable housing, and the role that the Fair Share Housing Commission and the intervener Gardner Homes have in reaching a mediated agreement with the Township of West Orange. I would like to address some issues which we are going to face during this long-run project. Traffic. Currently, 2 communities share an overused oval road. If we add 862 homes and assume 1,000 plus additional cars, this road will not be sustainable for many reasons. Significant traffic. There is no traffic light to manage the volume, and if they put traffic light, still there is not enough distance between the new light and the Lauren Avenue traffic light. It is only quarter miles of distance, which will add to the traffic. Diminish access in case of emergencies, significant upkeep expenses for the Highland communities. Safety issues for pedestrians on this road. Wildlife. Significant wildlife resides in the acreage. We see them and coexist with them. They will be displaced. This development is unfair on many grounds, but this is the most heartbreaking. Nature. Significant number of trees will be uprooted, resulting in potentially increased flooding for parts of our community. These will impact our homes and result in unlivable conditions, including potential mold issues that will recur and hurt the health of many. Construction. Our community is home to several young families as well as several senior members. One of the reasons this community has drawn its residents is the peaceful environment. During the construction, our community will find it difficult to maintain their day-to-day on account of road blasting, dust, non-stop construction vehicle, potential impact to our water line, sewage line, and several things that I, a private citizen, just do not know. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Patel. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? I see a hand raised in the back there. Is there anyone else? I can see Mr. Puglisi, who always saves the best to last. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
Hi, Lisa Paley, P-A-L-E-Y, 22 Bakley Terrace, B-A-K-L-E-Y. This isn't so much of a comment as it is a question. I was just wondering what the time frame approximately is going to be for Homes and Gardens to come in and break ground when they're going to start construction, and just how much time that, we have, or how long, they have to meet with the town planners, and how, what the process is. I don't even know what the process is. So I just wanted to know what the time frame is, because I really don't have any clue about that.
Okay.
That is more of a question than a comment.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Please raise your hand. Mr. Puglisi, I think you're on.
Hi, Anthony Puglisi, representing County Executive Joe DiVincenzo. Before you, I placed a postcard that we had recently sent out about the Cherry Blossom Festival. I also placed some additional copies on the table out front. This is an annual festival that we have. It begins April 8th and continues to April 23rd. I'm sure everyone has heard me talk about cherry blossoms in the past. It's the arrival of spring, which I'm sure we all are eagerly anticipating. So I do invite everyone to come out and participate in those events. Also on April 22nd, it's the first Earth Day celebration that the county is having. This one's at Turtleback Zoo, and it's the Party for the Planet. We do that in conjunction with the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And then our second Earth Day celebration is April 29th, and that's at the Environmental Center in Roseland. So again, we do invite people to come to those events, and as always, all of our activities are on our website, which is EssexCountyNJ.org. And then just finally, within the next couple weeks, there has been a lot of activity at Turtleback Zoo this winter. So we will be opening a new condor exhibit, and then we have a new exhibit featuring giant anteaters and maned wolves. And then probably later in May or June, we'll be opening the lion and hyena exhibit. So I'll keep you posted on those. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else who appears wishing to speak, I'll close public comment now and ask my colleagues in the administration to respond. I'd like to just throw it out to Mr. Sayers, just because Mr. Pringle was the first speaker. He made a suggestion about using the senior transportation to take residents from the facilities to the pool and back on a regular basis. I think this has come up before, but I can't remember the details, so I just thought I'd...
We actually did it last year, and we didn't get a lot of people. We did it, I believe, we started 5 days a week, then we dropped it down to 2 days a week, and it just wasn't a call for it, so we just left it as if you wanted to go to the pool, you call us and we'll take you to the pool. So we didn't have any steady times to do it.
Okay. Were you...
But we definitely implemented it last year.
Okay. Were you just doing the rent-a-house, or were you also...
No, anywhere.
Okay.
Anybody who would call up and say, I want to go to the pool,
Okay.
we pick them up and take them to the pool.
But not a regular basis like the residents would...
Schedule.
Okay.
Definitely was not on a regular schedule. Pretty sure of that.
It just occurs to me that maybe if there was some demonstration of demand whether
Yeah.
whether we could, go back to maybe twice a week just to see if there was the demand. But I suppose if people would call you and ask for that transportation, after you record enough calls, you would know that there needs to be on a more regular basis. Would that be a...
Don't hold me to this, but my recollection was that in all the times we ran it, 3 people used it.
Okay.
I remember saying
Yes.
Mhm.
That was it.
And I know Mr. Pringle does because I see him up at the pool
Right.
quite regularly. Okay. So hopefully that more or less answered the question. If we can get more of a demonstrated demand from RANA by calling the phone number, then we could reinstitute on a semi-regular basis. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, the issue becomes just putting down times and dates is very difficult the way we run our transportation program, because there are people who call us at all times of the day to go to different places. So if we're picking someone up or dropping someone off, we may be 10 minutes later than what you were waiting for, or a half hour later, depending upon what it is. So we try not to nail it down to a specific time. Time frames, yes, maybe 10 to 11. I'm sorry. Time frames possibly between like 10 and 11 or 11 and 12, things like that. But to nail it down to a specific point in time, it's hard to do with the way our transportation system runs.
Can I ask a question? So
Sure.
so it's a large building with a lot of residents. Is there a facilitator there that we could have a sign-up sheet? So this way you would know and who would want to utilize a service to the pool? I mean, obviously you would probably put the sign-up sheet.
We have nurses that work in that building, but they're not facilitators. They're there for health, they do health.
What about, as a community board, to put it on, like when they first come in with the community board, so people, if they wanted to sign up or have an information sheet?
The point was that if you're going to the pool and you need a ride, you're going to call us and we're going to pick you up.
Yeah.
People aren't doing that. That's the issue. People are not calling us to pick them up and take them to the pool.
I'll talk to Ms. Duffy. Maybe we could put a flyer in the
Yeah, we can
lobby.
do that.
So people know that they can.
We can definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the sign-up sheet's problematic, because somebody signs up and that, whether they're there at what time.
Well, if there's no one facilitating it, that is an issue, but if there's a...
The other issue
An
is
advertisement, I think, makes sense.
when you show up, you have to be ready to go, because the bus has other people on it
Absolutely,
where they're going
yeah.
to different places. So, you can't show up and sit outside for a half hour waiting for everybody to come down and get into the bus.
But if we knew there was a set time, but what you're saying, there's not always a set time?
No,
because
you
of how-
if there were enough people to do that, we would do that. But I'm telling you, when we started this last year, there were 3 people who responded.
It was done at a specific time.
Yeah, and it was at a specific
It was at a
time.
specific time, and they just, it didn't catch on.
Okay.
There were 2 people one day and 1 person one other day.
All right, maybe we could generate some more interest and try it again this year.
The interesting issue is, with all due respect to this gentleman, I don't even think he was one of the people we picked up, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it.
I remember Jack, you asked him if he called, and he said...
Yeah, I asked him if he had called, and he
Okay.
said no.
Right.
So,
I'll talk to Patty.
Councilwoman.
Do you mind if I talk to
No, go
Patty
right
Duffy and
ahead.
ask her for some
Absolutely not.
ideas and how we could get the word out to
We'll make it work any
residents?
way we have to make it work.
Okay.
Jack,
Councilwoman?
yes, please, thank you. The question goes hand in hand with the question that was raised about not just posting the telephone number and the transportation policy online. Has there been a mailing, or is that posted somewhere, telephone
I
number?
just tried to get in touch with Teresa, and I couldn't get in touch with her.
I remember
we
seeing the
spoke-
paper,
We
right.
spoke about
Yeah.
it, we put something
Mhm.
together. I can't tell you if it was distributed or not yet, but I will definitely find that
I
out.
would hope so.
Because especially at the events we have at the Toby Cat Civic Center, so they should just be there all the time. If somebody wants them, they could just be handouts. People are in and out of there all the time that may want the information.
I can just tell you from my experience, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be advertising as many ways as we can, but our transportation service runs pretty well for the seniors in this town. And if you talk to them, they'll
We know
explain,
that.
most of them will tell you.
Yeah,
We know that.
but we could see what we could do to make improvements.
Absolutely. Can always get better.
Okay.
No doubt about that. Can always get better.
I would like to just try, before my colleagues speak, try to address some of the issues brought up by the residents of West Essex Highlands. And as you know, we've been talking about this for several months now. We are currently, the township is currently in court-ordered mediation to try to reach a settlement with the other two parties in this litigation that's designed to provide a final determined number of the number of affordable housing units that West Orange has to provide. And we've discussed this a great deal at previous meetings. At the meeting tonight, we have an executive session, which is confidential, which does not take place in a council meeting, to discuss the status of those discussions. Councilwoman McCartney and I have been participating directly in the mediation sessions. There are many frustrating elements to this whole situation, but perhaps the most important or the most frustrating is that we are bound by confidentiality in the mediation session. And so there are things that we would love to tell you about where things stand and what's happened and what the timeline may be, but we are restricted by the courts from speaking about this. But I think, say this, and Mr. Trink is not here to stop me to say it, but I can tell you that every issue that was raised tonight has been raised multiple times in our discussions. And it's just simply not anything that we can talk further about. We are very well aware of the concerns there. This is not new. This has been going on for 20 years. But you also, please keep in mind that to a certain extent, the township's hands are tied relative to the decision-making about what this mediation and settlement is going to be. Because, as you've probably heard, 40 years ago, the state Supreme Court discovered a constitutional obligation for all municipalities to provide their fair share of affordable housing. So this has been going on for 40 years. And because it is a constitutional issue, a lot of the local planning laws that had applied previously are not applying in this specific situation with garden homes, because of the way the regulation and the litigation has evolved. They have the right, by intervening into this determination of the affordable housing, they have a right to say that they would like to contribute to the meeting our affordable housing obligation at the same time that they get to develop that property. So it's complicated, it's confidential, and it's just not something that we can speak to with any detail. And I'm sorry, it's one of the many frustrations of this, but I can assure you that we are well aware of the potential impact over there, and it is part of our discussions. I just can't tell you anything more than that. Mr. Kaiser, am I walking to the line? I'm not that close to the line, am I?
Well, I'm not going to, I think what you said was okay. All of this is before the court. It's all a matter of law, constitutional and otherwise. One of the people who came up asked about time frame. Some of these things, by the way, were discussed at the meeting at the Highlands, at which I think all of you were present, although none of you were allowed to speak. I was present as well, and I think Ms. Bishop explained at the time that in terms of a shovel going into the ground, it's quite some time away. I think she indicated not before sometime in 2018, maybe beyond that, who knows. As all of you know, after the court does whatever it's going to do, or we come to some agreement under the court supervision, the matter has to go before the planning board with a site plan application. Don't know how long that's going to take, but everybody who lives in the Highlands, everybody in West Orange has the right, obviously, to appear at the planning board meetings and participate. So it's a process. It's going to take some considerable time, and I don't think we should talk about it much beyond that.
Just one more thing, and I'll try to move on. As I hope everybody at West Essex Highlands knows, that the township has invited the president of the Condo Association, as well as the Condo Board's legal representative, into the mediation, into the discussion. So in addition to Councilwoman and my understanding of the issues from the perspective of West Essex Highlands, we have somebody who is definitely living in the trenches and has legal representation there. Councilwoman?
No, well done. Well done. Describing that, it sounds so vague, and it is vague, but I think Joe said that we share the same concerns. The same concerns have been discussed. Conference call on Monday. We'll know more then, but there's not much left to say. The same concerns that were raised when the application was before the planning board 10 years ago are the same concerns. The property hasn't changed. So all of that, we don't have a plan. Truthfully, we're not looking at a plan. We're just discussing these number of units plus affordable housing, traffic, of course, and that's what we're all discussing, and bonding.
And just to follow up on that, the planning board's decision previously, I guess it's been 10 years now, the court-ordered mediator has that document. We made sure that she is aware of that, and there's not a whole lot more I think we can do besides make her aware of previous legal activity here.
Right.
And I'll throw it open to our other colleagues if you want anything to say, as long as we're on the subject of West Essex Highlands.
I just want to concur. It is a very frustrating process. Being an elected official for 11 years, it's not easy when you have to go in a confidential session and you can't explain what's going on. But I would like to thank the association, the residents, for the meeting last week, and for Ms. Bishop. I thought she did a wonderful job. And although we weren't able to speak to you in regards to the situation, I was appreciative of the residents that came up and thanked us for attending and for appreciating, the fact that we can't converse with you about this. But again, very frustrating, and we do feel your pain and hear you. Council President.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, and again, thank you to the Highlands residents for the invitation to allow us to be there and to listen to your questions. And it was great to hear, not respond, but great to hear some of the great questions that you had. And I'm glad more of you have come tonight and tell us here in open public meeting. So these are the things we want to hear, but you do know how we feel. And you do know that we are concerned, and we're not just sitting here giving you lip service. We're here, and we're listening. It's a frustrating process, and at the end of the day, we'll see how it comes out. But again, your input and your comments and your questions are greatly appreciated. And again, I can thank you on behalf of my colleagues that your invitation and your kind words and your treatment of us at the meeting is very well appreciated. So thank you very much. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Do anybody want to respond to perhaps some of the other issues that were raised tonight? Councilwoman?
Sure. I
Please.
have one. I just jotted down. Ms. Morelli, in regard to the school board's budget, as far as I know from limited talks with them, I have not read the Chronicle, so I don't know what was written in there. I'll have to go review it and ask the question that you brought forth tonight, but I know they have a lot of issues with their health care cost increasing. That's been problematic for them this year, so I'll read the article and ask the questions. In regards to your comment about a full-time planner, this past Saturday, Councilwoman McCartney and Councilman Guarino, we spent a lovely day, all day, morning and afternoon, down in New Brunswick at Rutgers Continuing Education Learning Center, and taking a course on for elected officials. And part of that course was on planning. And in regards, I asked a question about, us utilizing consultant and having a full-time planner. And again, a lot of townships, because of costs, as you know, the planner was cut out of the budget a few years back. And a lot of townships are utilizing planners. Consulting firms for their planning. We're fortunate here where we have Mr. Greigel, who everyone feels is competent, and we are using him more often. I review the bill list on a monthly basis. I see his hours have increased. So again, it's nothing unusual that other townships are and aren't doing. So we always hear you about the need, but unfortunately, because of fiscal constraints, and we do have someone who's very competent and is firm. Let's see. And in regards to the Arts Incubator, thank you for all you do, for volunteering all your time. Not easy being a volunteer organization and trying to raise funds. Any fundraisers, that you may have, we'll love to help you support them. And Mr. Sayers I know we're having our budget presentation Saturday. Do we have something in here for the property or of any improvements? Or Mr. Gross, do you have any capital improvements for the site, for OSPAC?
No, there was no.
There's nothing in it. Okay. So that would have to be a discussion on Saturday. Thank you.
Councilman, you want to go? Thank you, Council President. Arts are very important for our community, whether it's for the students or for the young or the old, and we support the arts in our program. OSPAC is a great facility. It needs to be used more, it needs to be promoted more, and hopefully we'll be able to have the wherewithal to do that with you. I think it's a great place. I know there are people in the township don't even know, just like the Edison Laboratories, there are people in the township don't even know it's there. But the programs that the Arts Incubator have done, are tremendous programs. From the Jazz Festival, movie night's a great thing. It's a great way to get families together. So hopefully, we can work on things to help you and move you forward. And of course, we're always here for, sweat equity for you too. So we're here and we want to make it work. It's very important. With Councilwoman Castellino said, it was a great program at Rutgers University on governmental planning and all that. We learned some great things. We learned things that we didn't know that we could and could not do. And so, our minds are to that. Mr. Sayers, just I may ask a question. Mr. Sayers, is Mr. Greigel available to the public if they have questions or no?
If he comes before the planning board, obviously people can ask him questions. I'm not so sure he calls him directly to ask questions.
Right. No, I'm saying because people would like to have. So people if have questions, they should come to the planning board meeting and ask the question because Mr. Okay, I just want to say that's not to Mr. Eben's point about architects. It's a profound profession, and of course, our third president being an architect, and the history and the stability of our community is based upon the architects that built such magnificent landmarks. Of course, like St. Mark's Church, that are in the township. And it's something that we should take seriously, and it is important, to look at the laws and everything else. But it is a call out to Mr. Eben and the respect that a lot of us have for the profession of architecture and basically how they contribute to maintaining the history and historical values of our community. So I thank Mr. Eben for that. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, Council President.
Councilwoman?
I guess a thank you to Roger for the appeal. It is an appeal, and maybe a brainstorming session or, to utilize our students, a battle of the bands, anything like that. We have national champions, state champions. We'd love to brainstorm. You're talented yourself. You could do the show. We're happy to help in however we can. And Jerry, I look forward to listening to the bills tomorrow at the planning board meeting for the Assembly and Senate bills on affordable housing. We're still in that whole learning process between the presentations and the mediation. on what needs to be done.
And I would reiterate, first I'd like to apologize to Roger. I always call him Roger, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I got it totally wrong, so I apologize. I'm just going to call you Roger, and I know I usually don't. I don't call people by their first names at the meeting, but you make a great point, and I got to say, all you need to do is come to the facility once
Yeah, it's beautiful.
to see how great it is, and the shows that the Arts Incubator puts on are fantastic. The quality of the music and performance are excellent. There's usually a lot of different vendors there to provide food and other types of vending products. I've seen Roger there with an adult beverage facility there that I really enjoyed, perhaps a little too much. But seriously, the OSPAC is a great facility. If you're there just once, you really have to go to appreciate it, and highly encourage you to do that, and also to consider contributing to the facility. Just want to say thank you to Ms. Morelli for coming in again, bringing up a lot of issues that that we as the council need to be looking at. I'm going to have to give you a call after this so I can follow up on a lot of the material that you brought together. As you know, I'm on board as saying I think the town is so large and has so many issues that it does need a full-time planner, which is not to take anything away from Mr. Greigel, but he's a partner in in his own firm, and just simply can't be a full-time planner for us. Just a reminder of everybody that the council is going to be meeting all day on Saturday, at least plan to potentially meet all day Saturday on our statutory hearing on the mayor's recommended budget for 2017. I've asked Mr. Gross to just give us a brief overview. I think we're going to do that at the end of the meeting under matters pending, because we haven't really scheduled it on the agenda, but that might be worthwhile to get an idea of what's coming in terms of taxes and spending. And you're more than welcome to come here. Starts at 9 o'clock Saturday morning. There's no public comment allowed, but you can certainly come and basically watch the sausage getting made. And Mr. Eben, I appreciate you coming again. He's a modest fellow. He doesn't mention that he's a fellow of the American Institute of Architects, which is their highest award for substantial achievement in the profession. And so whenever he comes to speak, I try to listen very hard, and want to say thank you for contributing the 2 books to the library. I need to go see that as well, and I will try to fit in spaghetti with the planning board tomorrow night. Anybody else have any comments? Madam Clerk?
Okay, at this time we're going to review the consent agenda. Approval of minutes of previous meeting, the public meeting minutes, and executive session minutes of March 21st, 2017.
Consent.
I have to abstain. I was
Okay.
absent last meeting.
Report of township officers, none. Reading of petitions and communications and bids, none. Bills. Are there any questions on the bills?
Enough consent.
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 Resolutions. Are any resolutions being pulled this evening?
Just one? Nope.
No, seeing none, okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is implemented. We have one ordinance on the agenda this evening. 2507-17, a bond ordinance providing various capital improvements in and by the Township of West Orange in the County of Essex, appropriating $8,990,546, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $8,560,000 bond or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Is there a motion to introduce on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes.
Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Well, okay. Here, have the gavel. I'm just kidding. Please, go ahead.
I
Councilwoman.
apologize. So, Mr. Gross, we've been conversing in regard to some of these items about getting better detail, especially when it comes to our buildings, renovation, alteration, improvements of our fire stations, and had you explained to me, I'd just like for you to share with the council and the public how that information will be forthcoming.
Yeah, we're finishing putting everything together. We'll have that for you by the end of the week or at the very latest, the beginning of next week, so that you have it long before the meeting itself for discussion. And we're going to give you as much level of detail as we can. For instance, one of the things you and I had a discussion about is what's the level of detail in terms of what types of improvements we anticipate this year for the monies we set aside for the fire department. We did do a study for the fire department buildings. The total cost estimate for doing all the renovations to all 5 buildings is about $2.8 million. We don't have $2.8 million. So we're earmarking roughly a number of approximately $500,000 of capital for a first tranche of improvements there. We have not had conversations with the fire department directly and in terms of what their priorities might be, as well as looking at the study, which I've read the study thoroughly, but one of the things we have to determine is, are we going to take one firehouse and make all the improvements for that firehouse and then move to the next one? Or are we going to take and say, well, all the firehouses, I'm just making this up,
Sure.
all the firehouses need bathrooms, so we're going to do all bathrooms. So we haven't figured out what the most economical way and most efficient way, and from an operational point of view, what's the best way to do that yet. But we feel it's important to allocate the funds so that as we move through the spring, we can get to a point, once the funds are approved and allocated, to put together a plan that, at least for, which will likely be a 5 to 6 year plan, to be honest with you, for that purpose. So that and to at least map out where we'd like to go, assuming that we can continue to afford to go those places. But we certainly are committed to, we want to commit to a significant amount of funds for this year for the firehouse. In addition to that, and of course, in the capital budget, there's money for $500,000 for a fire engine as well. So we're making a significant investment, I think, this year into equipment, not just in the fire department, but DPW as well as the police department, because that's an area that has been we've ground as much out of our equipment as we can, and it's time to invest in it quite a bit more. So we'll give you much more detail than you have now. I don't know that it will be as granular as to be able to tell you exactly what we're going to be doing on a month-by-month or even 6-month by 6-month basis, but you're going to get a pretty good feel for the direction we're going.
And I'd asked about the technology, equipment details, and the vehicles in regards to the police department. But I was very happy to see the street sweepers on here. They're desperately needed. And so,
again, we'll give you as much level of detail as we can.
Okay, great. This is a great
Keep in mind
list.
that one of the things we always have to have is our funds set aside for the things we can't predict. So while we may not be able to give you dollar for dollar on every appropriation, we certainly are going to give you a really good feel for where the money's going to go.
I just think it's important that we, have a strategic plan, that, we plan forward for the big, capital purchases, especially for firefighters and our police department.
We agree.
Thank you for that due diligence.
And just to follow up on that, and I think there's a lot of awareness out, or a lot of interest out in the public, because these are big ticket items, and to, I guess, a certain degree or varying degrees, these are voluntary. It's not like we have a labor contract and we have to pay our employees a certain amount if they're covered under the labor contract. These are things that where we're deciding as a governing body that these are the priorities, and here's where we're spending the money, and this is why we've got to issue the bonds and pay such rising debt service. So I think it's very helpful, I think, to the public to know that this is where we're proposing to spend the money.
I mean, and just in broad strokes, this is almost $9 million. $1 million, that's going to the fire department. $500,000 at least going to police vehicles. $500,000 going to go to the Public Works Department for sweepers and other vehicles. So you're right there. You're at $2 million of the 9, a little over $6 million that's going to go to streets and roads. It leaves less than $1 million for everything else. So while it's big numbers and it looks like there's a lot of details, the truth of the matter is there's not a lot of flexibility either. I mean, there's not a lot of room in this. And again, they are. I won't say that they're optional, but they're certainly priorities that you need to make decisions on based on where you want to go. You're right. It's not like salary and wage.
And same thing, Parks and Recreation, you have them built in here too. You have the detail what parks, what improvements we're making.
We'll give you as much detail as we can.
Thank you.
So I think we're done with the legislation. We have an executive session to go into, and then I had asked Mr. Gross to just give us a brief overview. If you want, if people are sticking around for the brief budget overview, we could, if the council agrees, we could do that now, and then break for our executive session, and then if anybody's hanging around for that, they can go home if they want.
Sure.
Because when we come out of executive session, we're unlikely to be able to speak about it. Certainly with Mr. Trenk here, he'll put his hand over our collective mouth. So would that be okay with you, Mr. Gross? Just talk a little bit about the upcoming budget? Sure. Great, thank you.
If the council and the public remembers last year, we passed a budget with a 2% increase in taxes. And the warning that I gave every other minute, if not more often, was that the 2016 budget, that we start off with a significant hole in terms of generating surplus to be used for revenue for this year. I'm pleased to report to you that my grave predictions, while were accurate, that we were able to find other revenues to fill in some of the gap. We also, I'll say, dodged a bullet in the sense that our health benefit costs moderated, allowing us to budget on a moderate basis for this year as well. So my warning still is intact, but it has been moved down a year. Kick that warning down the road.
Different level
that
of
can down the road one more year. Having said that, our total spending, the budget that we submitted to you on the 24th, last Friday, I believe, represents an increase in spending of 1.7%, and an increase of taxes in the amount to be raised by taxation of 2%. We are at the 2% cap, and for the first time, we are at our spending cap. The spending cap that exists within this budget cannot go over. We cannot go over it without a referendum. We are not anticipating that you will be selecting a referendum option. So as you approach your deliberations on Saturday, I just keep in mind that, again, we're concerned about the revenues for next year, and as far as spending is concerned, you are at the cap. So anything that you're looking to change will have to find, any increased appropriations would have to find a corresponding decrease in actual spending. Broad overview, other than the 2%, I think what we're going to find is what is in the budget is about 8 new initiatives or expansions of existing programs. We've consolidated some positions, actually 3 positions into 2 in a particular department. You'll see there are requests in here for 6 promotions for or salary adjustments for full-time employees, and the bringing back 2 new positions to DPW above and beyond what we budgeted for at the end of the year in 16. So we feel very strongly that in doing our analysis of whether to, for the considerations for doing the street sweeping, that it was most economical for us to buy the new sweepers and hire 2 new people as opposed to contract that out. There was just nominal economic advantages as well as the advantage that we'll have additional people on staff, which is, our opinion, is sorely needed in DPW. So overall, if you, tonight I put a hard copy of the budget on the desks on the dais tonight, and attached to that is the synopsis budget, or the summary budget. The summary budget basically is an overview with detail of the actual changes above and beyond any contractual or salary ordinance changes that are required for the budget. And remarkably, there are about 5,000 to 6,000 lines in total in the total detailed budget, only 30 of which have any substantive change for your consideration. All other changes, like I said, are salary, wages, or contractual costs that are going to occur no matter what. It's not a matter of debating. So we'll be prepared to discuss either on a overview basis or in detail basis anything that the council wants to do on Saturday. We're going to ask you to go through the summary pages first, and then delve into whatever detail you feel that is appropriate.
Any questions?
Can't wait.
I can't wait. Can I just ask a quick question? Since we brought up the street sweepers, I noticed in the line budget that we've got, I think it's $350,000 in O&E for street sweeping.
You'll see that was a request, and the mayor's recommendation is 0.
Okay. So do the I know we've had situations where either one or both of the street sweepers have been out of commission. Are they back both operating now?
We have one operating as of this moment. Yes.
And if we approve the capital budget and go through all of that and go through the hiring, when would we be able to restore full service?
Certainly we'll be on board for end of this year or the beginning of 18 in terms of actually on having them on the street working. Could be sooner than that if we can find quicker sources, but I don't want to overstate it. Sometimes it does take 6 months to get them there.
I also just wanted to ask a quick question about the surplus, because I know we were talking last year that we were really pressed, that we were going to be cutting into the surplus, but the surplus that we resulted from last year is huge. It's almost $3 million. How did that turn around?
I think, as I indicated earlier on, we ended up having very strong performance on revenues, as well as our spending was not what it could or should have been in terms of the health benefits. So we reaped some benefit from that.
And I know you're
that and we were able to cash in some tax title liens, and we've been which is one thing I want to caution on. We had a really good year in terms of revenue, the tax title liens and other revenues, but much of it was not sustainable, not repeatable. So it's not
one time.
We haven't set that's why we end up with a nice fund balance. But again, that's going to help carry us till we've solved the structural deficit, which does exist.
Yeah, because according to the numbers, we raised almost $1.5 million more than we were projecting, that's a good thing to be wrong about, or off about, not wrong, but off about.
Well, and because of that, I want you to keep in mind, we were able to come back this year at 2% and meet the goal. So being frugal and getting to a point where we can get those revenues put us in a position to be right where we were last year. So it's important to know that sometimes and to remember that sometimes when we ask you to hold off on things or to look at that this is the result. The result is we're treading water as far as, we weren't able to go downward, even though we had such a great year. We were able to stay on an even keel. If we don't have that kind of a year next year, we're going to be looking at not such good news next year. So.
And so you're projecting at this point a 2% increase in the levy?
In the levy.
Okay. Do you have any sort of idea at this point what the tax base is going to be doing this year compared to last year?
Yeah, the tax base is down about 30 million because of the commercial settlements that we're making. We've talked about earlier this year. That is going to reflect about a 0.5% shift for people whose tax rates didn't change or their tax assessments didn't change.
So just the average house, single-family
if we did
homeowner?
nothing, if we did nothing, if everything was status quo, many people would see a 0.5% increase in their tax because of the reallocation of taxes, not because of spending, because of just the reallocation.
So if the levy's up 2% and we're predicting a slight decline in the tax base, it's likely that the tax increase would be slightly over 2%, at least at this point?
Yeah, there are going to be people that are over and people that are under, and the people that are under, the ones that had tax appeals that were successful, some of them, many of them commercial, some of them non-commercial and residential. Anyone who did not have a tax appeal will see probably a little higher than that.
Any other questions?
I got ready for Saturday.
Thank you. This is very helpful because, of course, this early in the budget cycle, people don't really get a good broad overview like you just provided until further on into the year. So thank you very much. I think it's helpful.
Who's bringing the coffee?
No, you're on tape as saying you're bringing.
I'm bringing the bagels.
The bagels. Who's bringing the coffee?
I'm bringing the bagels. Someone will bring coffee, I'm sorry.
All right, I'll get the coffee.
Did you just volunteer?
I'll get the coffee. I'll commit it right on tape. I'll get the coffee.
So as long as we're sort of doing pending matters or matters pending, does anybody else have any other issues they would raise at matters pending? Then I think with the council's agreement, we'll break now to go into executive session, and when we come back, we'll just be signing off. This concludes our April 4th council meeting. Our next meeting will be March 25th. A blessed and happy Easter and Passover.
April 25th.
What did I say, April? You said March. Oh, my gosh. I've been saying March 25th for like a week now. I've lost a month somewhere. Anyway, we will see you back in 3 weeks.
Fair enough.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.